Hi, welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor, and I am your host, and I am not God. Obviously, I'm not an expert. I'm not even a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of a microphone, hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see divinity and every day. I had an experience this week where I went to Sundance for work, and we were at the very top of the mountain, and there's a restaurant up there. They're the best nachos of your life if you're ever in Utah in the summer. Actually, they do it in the winter too, but you have to ski down. And I don't know how you feel about that, but in the summer, you can take the lift all the way up and all the way down. Anyways, I was up there for work and we were eating the delicious nachos, but because it's at the top of the mountain, it's often very windy. It was very, very windy. It was the windiest I've ever seen it up there this week. We were inside, but you can overlook the deck, and there's this woman on the deck, and she was pregnant, and she had this short denim dress on, and the wind was catching this woman's dress. We just kept getting shots of full bare bum. Okay. But the thing about this story is, you might be thinking, Julie, why are you exploiting this poor girl and telling us this embarrassing story on the podcast? I'm bringing this up because this woman did not mind at all. She did not care. She was unbothered. She was completely unbothered. I've never seen anyone give fewer F's about anything than this woman was giving about her bare bum being exposed to the entire mountainside. She did not care. And I respected it even more because she was pregnant, because I just don't think pregnant women should have to give any F's about anything. Have they not done enough? Are they not doing more than any of us by just simply existing? Okay, they deserve all the free passes. So I'm not even saying this judgmentally. I was inspired. I was inspired by her energy. And we made a joke at the table. I was like, I'm so inspired by this. I'm going to find a way to bring it into the podcast. And I am because I think everyone needs a little bit more of this woman's energy. Because what it taught me is that things are only problems if you decide to make them a problem. It's not a problem. Oh, my dress is blowing up. Okay. Well, do I want to make this a problem or not? She didn't. She didn't want to make it a problem. You know what? She didn't want any problems to deal with that day. So she said, this isn't going to be a problem. Not this one. No. And literally, I can't stop thinking about it. Not in a creepo way, but just that energy of how frantic I would have been. If I was out there, I would be frantically holding it down, freaking out, screaming, just trying to keep it. I would be so stressed out. And then I probably would just go inside because I didn't want to deal with it anymore, which is a fine option. But what if I wanted to be on the deck, but I was only so stressed out about my dress blowing up that I went inside and I didn't even do what I actually wanted to do because I was just so stressed? She showed me the alternative path of just choosing to not care. I've learned this lesson a few times, but this was really an illustration of it, of things are only problems when you decide to make them problems. How does this apply to anything that we talk about on this podcast? Well, I'd like to talk about faith. I'd like to talk about how, let's see how many buzzwords I can fit into one sentence. Navigating a faith expansion can be really hard. I was going to try to fit as many as I could, but navigating a faith crisis, expansion, unpacking, rebuilding, whatever you want to say, it's hard and it can be really draining. And I'm not saying that you pretend it's not a problem, except for I am saying that you take breaks. And we've talked before about how you're allowed to take breaks. You got to set it down sometimes. It's too hard to carry all the time. It's too hard to do this all of the time. It's too heavy. You need to set it down sometimes. Okay. But I want to bring in this energy of, if it's hard for you to set it down, if it's hard to take a break because it feels so all-consuming, because I know it is, but when it feels challenging, just remember, it's only a problem if you choose to make it a problem. And maybe for today, it doesn't need to be the problem. Maybe for today, you can just let your skirt blow up and your buns be free and not call it a problem. Maybe just for today. You can pick it back up tomorrow. You can pick it up next week. You can figure it out. I still apply this quite often when things come up and I'm just not, I don't know the answer. I don't know. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Ooh, yeah, that doesn't work out for me. What if though? What if for today it's just not a problem? And I know this sounds maybe dismissive or silly or naive or really privileged, but I just do think that you can just make it not a problem right now. It can be a problem later. I promise you this woman is going to have a problem later because that lift was really hot and her dress was so short that I know when she sat on it, there was skin to skin contact. And I think that that's going to hurt her. Okay. So I do think that she's going to face problems down the road, But not in that moment. That moment, she was bare bunned and free. And I love that for her. Okay. So today, maybe it doesn't need to be a problem. Maybe we don't have to have all the answers. Maybe we don't need to figure it all out right now. Maybe we don't need to make it a problem. You can apply this to faith, and you can also apply it to a lot of other things, like your pants not fitting. Is that a problem? Maybe you just need some new pants. Problems are only problems when we frame them as problems. And while we're on the topic of problems, I think that as women, we have the tendency to make ourselves the problem and take accountability when maybe we don't need to. And I do this a lot. I've seen myself do it, and I've seen my friends do it, where we make ourselves the problem. So if like our kids are having a problem, we automatically blame ourselves. Like, it's because we did this. It's because we parented them this way. And I went to Chili's with my older, wiser friend, and I was telling her how I was really stressed because I think I'm working too much. And I just was like getting her take on it. Like, do you think I'm making the right choices? Do you think that I'm screwing my life up? And the evidence that I gave her was I took my youngest child hiking a few Saturdays ago, just without my other kids. And she was such a bad hiker. She was so whiny, and she didn't want to be there. And she just kept complaining. And okay, my child is 3 years old. Okay. So everyone needs to tell me to calm down. But my other kids, my 3 older kids, I took them hiking a lot more than I take my youngest kid hiking. And they are all really good hikers. We're climbing a mountain on Monday. Like, they are good hikers. My oldest child summited a mountain, Mount Timpanogos, at 5 years old. And I instilled that in them, and I valued it, and they are good hikers. And then I took my youngest, and she, you know what? She's a great person. She's a crappy hiker. Okay. And I was just telling my friend how that was evidence that, like, I'm not being a good mom, and that I'm failing, and that I work too much, and that I'm taking on too much, and that I'm not a good person. I'm doing a bad job at failing my children. This is what I thought this meant. Taking a 3-year-old on a hike where she was grumpy and didn't, and by the way, she also came around and played in the river and had a great time on that hike. But I was taking all of this as evidence that I was a bad mom. And I'm telling you, I have seen women do quantum mechanic math to make themselves the problem so that they can blame themselves. Like, things that, and I'm doing it. Anyway, my friend said to me, oh yeah, maybe that's it. Or maybe she's just the youngest child, and maybe she just doesn't like hiking, and maybe she's 3, and maybe this is all really normal. And it just kind of de-escalated things for me enough to like see the situation clearly and see how I wanted to be the problem, because if I'm the problem, it's my fault, and I love to feel bad about myself. But also, if it's my problem, then I can fix it. And it's a lot harder if I'm not the problem because I don't know how to fix it. And so I'm going to center myself as the problem in all of these things because it gives me the illusion of control. Because if I'm the problem, I can fix it. Anyways, problems are only problems if we choose to make them problems. We can take breaks from our problems by just choosing to not identify them as problems. And we're not always the problem, but we make ourselves the problem so that we can have more control to fix it. I guess that's the TLDR of this episode. Anyways, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have the energy of free buns and free souls. Love you so much. Bye.